Greetings again, everyone. I trust you have all continued to behave deplorably. That is only well and fitting to mark the current occasion. I think everything is up in the air about what is going to happen next, so in the meantime, I will share my meandering musings and discuss the hilarious conclusions I have reached. I know I will immediately lose most of my viewers after this point, but I figure I may as well give a brief summation of this presentation, and that is, the Democrats are screwed. The US presidential election was held just over 2 weeks ago as of the time I am making this video. And in that time frame I have been doing a deep dive analysis of the significant parameters given current information. My contemplation led me to 3 conclusions, all of which look really bad for poor Sleepy Joe. I want you to bear in mind that these scenarios are purely my conjecture, but I feel I have pretty strong and persuasive arguments here, and if I am right, we will have another 4 years plentiful harvest of salt. Can I get a man? So as of today's date, Trump is contesting the media-pronounced crowning of Sleepy Joe through the courts. Joe, on the other hand, has locked himself back in his basement for a few days, this time joined by a very diverse selection of kids to sniff. And I was running thought experiments about how things will progress, and in my assessment there are 3 scenarios. If you disagree and want to say there are more, then go make your own video about that, naming no names. Scenario 1. The Democrats, mainstream media, general TDS sufferers, dig their heels in right now and throw everything they have to thwart Trump's legal challenges through fair means or foul. This appears to be their current tactic, denying any possible hint of wrongdoing while the media lackeys parade their new leader around. Here's the problem with that road. If the Democrats do not agree to challenges being reviewed and questionable events being examined, then they look like they've got something to hide. There will always be a genuine legitimacy question hanging around Joe. I'm not talking about your Steele document here. This will leave the door wide open for a deeper investigation into the Biden corruption scandals opened up by Hunter's misplaced laptop. In addition, the mainstream media collusion with this will be another nail in their coffin. The trust people have for these entities is going nowhere but down. In essence, it will be a Pyrrhic victory and, in my estimation, short-lived. So moving on, let's say that the Democrats / TDS enthusiasts stop being obstructionist twats and allow Trump's challenges to proceed unhindered. Unlikely, I know. This leads to a further 2 scenarios. Let's first run with the one that on the face of it seems most beneficial to the Democrats, shall we? Scenario 2. So Trump spends all his money taking all discrepancies to court, and after lengthy investigations and studious counting, it turns out Trump is wrong. There is absolutely no election fraud. Let's give them the whole media garbage. Despite them changing the rules to the laxest possible extreme to accommodate those afraid of Fluhan, there was no foul play. Therefore, Joe can claim his rightful place in El Casablanca, and his hordes of adoring sycophants can prostrate themselves before him. Is that not the current Democrat dream? Well, to put it bluntly, no. Biden will be walking into the Oval Office, sure, but the Democrats, I believe, have just about lost the House, the Senate, and have reduced powers in the Supreme Court. Sure, Joe can chill out on Air Force One, but all his efforts to take political actions can be blocked from every angle. Then, 3 months in, if he escapes impeachment, he has to face his running mate Harris on the long night of the pillow. I'm sure he will be sadly missed by someone. To top it off, Trump will have just proved beyond any shadow of a doubt that the entire Russian collusion narrative spun for the last 4 years was complete BS. I mean, if there was zero election fraud when a large number of safety measures were removed, as in the election just passed, how could Russia have had any effect in 2016? This might result in a large percentage of the population being rightfully pissed off at those who peddle the Russia hoax alongside their supporters. This will also have the positive effect of hammering another nail into the mainstream media coffin. This leads to the final scenario, and I think it's pretty clear where this one is going, so I will just crack on. Scenario 3. Trump, the Trump team, and 4chan keep digging. The more they dig, the bigger the corruption they root out. I'm talking about the possibility of finding out about awe-inspiring balls on the people who perverted the election process. All uncovered by weaponized autism on steroids.
Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Trump not only roots out a large chunk of questionable Biden votes, but finds vaults full of uncounted Republican votes. Then, more information comes to light implicating key Democrat personnel in illegal activity, resulting in Joe not only conceding, but going to jail. Yes, you're talking about the entire swamp drain in operation. 4 more years, and wall building 24/7. I can imagine the rees would be heard from space. This will also have the positive effect of hammering another nail into the mainstream media coffin. Ever get a feeling of deja vu? Again. So what do you think of the analysis as I laid it out? I want you to bear in mind that this is purely conjecture, and what happens happens, but sometimes it is fun to speculate. Slan.